What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. You'll notice that I'm making this quick video in the backyard today. I don't have time to get in the studio. I am going to be doing some traveling over the next day, but I did want to put this video out. Something very, very important that I absolutely must talk about. Number one, though, before we move on, I do want to say congratulations on the ETH merge. It appears as if everything has gone successful. Doesn't seem to be any issues that I'm aware of so far. And a lot of exchanges have also issued those tokens out. If you're interested and you do want to trade that, check out BitGet, check the link below. They are doing the trading right now if you want to trade both of those tokens. But what I really wanted to talk about today specifically was the macro. I want to talk about the fact that everyone is freaking out right now. Nobody knows where to run. Everything appears to be crashing. The only place that it seems you can go right now is the dollar. But how sustainable is this dollar rally? A lot of people are very scared about Bitcoin. They think to themselves that it's not ever going to get to a new all-time high, right? We're just going to stay at these levels forever, or it's just going to be a passing fad and, the whole world is going to basically blow up, go up in flames, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that that's probably not going to happen, and those people are about to miss out on the probably greatest opportunity of our lifetime, an opportunity that could literally not only just generate wealth right now for you, but maybe even generationally, have wealth for your family. This could be that moment, and I do want to talk about that because you've seen, for example, the leader of the Conservative Party over in Canada, right, coming out saying that he thinks that Bitcoin is a good hedge against inflation. You also have all these countries, right, they call them the BRICS, basically coming out saying that they don't need the dollar. They're willing to accept other currencies, gold, even Bitcoin, Russia was talking about, and they might even look to create their own fiat currency, which could be a basket of all the other currencies, excluding the US dollar.
Meanwhile, the effects of the Fed's moves on the US dollar are being closely monitored by the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, who are reportedly developing their own global reserve currency. Recently, India and Russia have said that they no longer need the US dollar to conduct trade, and there's growing speculation that this new currency could be backed by a basket of commodities, including gold.
So it is very apparent that the dollar's time is limited. But I do want to actually just play this clip from KitGo News because they were talking with Matthew Piepenberg. He's an asset manager, and he was talking about the strong rally of the dollar and what we should expect moving forward. And he says that they're actually playing a bit of a game right now. In fact, Powell may just simply be raising all the rates so that he actually has something to cut when the you-know-what finally hits the fan. So check this clip out.
You're seeing just a lot of small talk or soft talk and optics talk, but it's not real talk. I think the other classic example of this kind of dishonesty from the Fed is even the notion that the Fed is using rising rates to fight inflation. I think that's entirely disingenuous. Whether we get to a neutral rate or not, when you've got 8 to 9% CPI inflation, you're not going to fight that with a 4%, 3%, or even 5% Fed funds rate, which we can't even afford. So that isn't the truth. The real truth is that the Fed, like most central banks throughout history, wants inflation to be higher than interest rates. It wants negative real rates because every debt-soaked nation who has its back against a wall throughout history has tried to inflate away its debt by having inflation higher than reported interest rates. So when you can doctor the inflation rates and pretend you have positive real rates when you're actually seeking negative real rates. I think Powell is seeking inflation. He's not fighting inflation. I think he's seeking negative real rates because he's desperate. He has no choice. And the only reason they're raising rates today is not to fight inflation, so they'll have something, anything to cut when the real recession becomes an official recession at some point when the BLS decides to call it that, or the National Board of Economic Review. Okay. So I mean, there's a lot of disingenuous data coming out of the Fed, and I don't think that's sensational anymore. I think most of us know that.
And one of the biggest comments that I see every single day on all of these videos are, but yeah, this time it's different. It's very different this time. Bitcoin has never lived through a true recession or through a true stock, bear market or through rates being raised, right? The hawkish stance on the Fed, right? And that's 100% true. We've never seen that before. But also on the flip side, the dollar has never seen this situation before either, right? So if we actually have a look at what's going on with the dollar right now, if we look at how it is different this time, he also goes on to explain why Powell cannot do the same things that Volcker did, back when he was, raising rates a historic 22%, because this time it is mathematically impossible.
Again, looking at basic empirical math, not just cynicism that I have about the central bank that was created on Jekyll Island in 1913, unimmaculately. Even if you just look at simple math, to compare our current era to the Volcker era on basic math is incredibly farcical, because we had in 1980 a 30% debt to GDP and a public debt of about 900 billion. Today we have 125% debt to GDP and over 30 trillion in government or public debt. Powell can't afford to be Powell. He can't afford to be Paul Volcker. It's mathematical. So this notion that we can pretend optically to puff our chest for the headlines to fight inflation, it defies all basic mathematical principles. And so the U.S. government's bar tab can't afford rising rates to the point where something has to break. And the Fed is between a rock and a hard place of its own making. If it prints more money and pivots, it creates more inflation through money supply. If it raises rates to fight inflation, it cripples the economy and destroys the markets. So it's either an inflationary nightmare or a depressionary economy. And in the meantime, they're buying time. They're looking for folks to blame, whether it's Putin, COVID, or climate change. You'll never see a central banker take responsibility for their policies, ever. They'll never make that mistake. So they'll always find scapegoats or excuses or words. When the math is too bad, the words get more fluffy.
And this is also something that I say on my channel a lot, and it can be very confusing if you are new to this concept, but you don't actually want your fiat currency to get too strong. Now, I know what you're saying. Of course the Fed wants it to get strong. Why would they not want the dollar to be strong? Well, the reality is that these types of currencies actually function on inflation, and they need inflation in order to keep the system afloat. Check this out.
So what does this scenario mean for the dollar?
Well, look, the dollar right now, unlike other central banks, the Fed, as the holder of the world reserve currency, has immense powers. You never can underestimate the Fed. Whatever I think of the Fed, I respect the powers that it has. And unlike the European Central Bank or the Bank of Japan or the Bank of England, the Fed can raise rates 300 basis points in a 6-month period that other central banks simply can't do. They can't afford that type of rate hikes and that type of debt cost. So the Fed can do this, but at some point it will have to pivot, not even just because of a recession or because markets are tanking or they need to reduce rates to fight the recession. The U.S. dollar has gotten too strong. When you raise rates and you even do quantitative tightening and add more treasury bonds into the supply, that brings the bond yields up. That also strengthens the yield and it strengthens the FFR, the Fed funds rate. That combination makes the dollar stronger. It's a disastrous policy, because it forces the dollar to go into a situation where emerging markets with own trillions in emerging market debt that's U.S. dollar denominated are stretched too thin. And the derivative markets contracts. There's all kinds of forces at play. They're going to make the dollar weaker. Right now, the Fed, Larry Summers, giving advice with Powell and Yellen and Biden, to the extent he's cognitively aware, thought that a rising dollar would attract foreign money and that it would be, it's certainly a temporary rising dollar. It's not a sustainable thing to have this dollar this strong, this long. But for now, unlike any other central bank, it can play this game of a strong dollar. Of course, that's incredibly crippling to the gold and silver prices.
And Bitcoin.
Of course it is.
Right.
But for now, it's a very, and I hate to say the word temporary, but this rising dollar policy is very, very temporary. It's not sustainable for so many reasons. But the main thing is it's important to know that when the dollar at a technical level is trading, when the DXY at 108 has been trading, the dollar index has been trading for 14 months above its quarterly moving average. And as Michael Oliver said, that's like a runner that never exhales. For me, it's like a drinker who never takes a glass of water but just keeps ripping martinis. That many months of a strong index creates a scenario where the runner has either a heart attack or an epic hangover. So the dollar will rise as it is now. It will cripple a lot of asset classes, everything in its path. But at some point, it will, like Hemingway's description of poverty, it will unfold slowly and then all at once.
So although no one can actually say with certainty when this time is going to come, when we're going to have that official bottom, could Bitcoin go potentially lower? It is possible, right? I didn't do any charts today. You guys know it's basically the same thing we talked about yesterday. Yes, there is that scary sort of level at around $13,800, right, where we had the monthly close back in 2017. That is a possibility, right? But nevertheless, guys, these people that are scared, these people that are walking away right now, that are leaving the space, that are not interested, that are not paying attention, that are living in this doom and gloom world, do not understand how cyclical these situations are, and they are going to miss out on probably the greatest generational buying opportunity of probably my life, our lives, that we're going to see right now. And if you do believe, like I believe, that Bitcoin is going to 250,000, is going to 500,000, is going to $1 million, then right now is the time to be paying attention. So if you want to, sit in a little bit of cash, that's fine. Dollar cost average, that's what I do. I do both. I have, some cash, and I also dollar cost average. I'm definitely not selling any of my Bitcoin, at these levels. But nevertheless, guys, the difference is fundamentally there's a lot going on right now, but look at what just happened with the ETH merge, right? we're still building. Even in a bear market, innovation is happening. Web3 is upon us, right? And, you know, granted, NFTs kind of had their boom and bust and, you know, metaverse and all that. I do believe inevitably that crypto is here to stay. And if you're not paying attention, you are certainly going to miss out on this major opportunity. So that's it for me today, guys. Just wanted to bring a little bit of a little bit more positive video for you guys today. You know, as far as the charts go, same things we're looking at yesterday. Just go watch yesterday's video. You know, we're approaching, tomorrow is the weekend again. So you know how things get. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. And of course, if you are looking to trade, make sure that you check out this tutorial popping up right here, right now. I love you guys. You're awesome. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.